and he kicked the shit in. He kicked the door in, y'all. So he kicked the door in, and I like, me and Deontay are both looking at each other like, what? Like, this is so ghetto. You don't hear my line no more. Oh, oh, you don't make it ring, 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 ring. So the roommate dude wasn't really hitting on me, but that landlord, yo, was so inappropriate. Like, he kept making very inappropriate jokes, and I noticed like he would always try to pull up some odd hours, and he would do stuff like this. Let me show y'all what he would do. So look, hey, what's good? You in here? Oh, I'm just checking to see if you in here. How's everything? Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, like, he would straight up show up unannounced at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then just let himself into my room. And of course, I'm not feeling that. I'm a female. I live by myself pretty much, with also another male roommate that you're cool with. I'm not trying to have y'all buddy and team up on me. You feel me? Like, I'm not trying to be cool with you. I'm not trying to have you open up my door. I walk around with nothing a lot of times, or just with the bare minimum. I'm just not trying to have that. And you're probably wondering, well, why didn't you just lock your door? You know why? Because the lock that I bought didn't work with the door. You know why? Because whosoever cut the hole in the door, it didn't line up with the hole in the wall. So any lock that I put in the door wouldn't work with the wall. So pretty much I was stuck with the door that couldn't shut. Very uncomfortable, right? Yeah, that was my situation. So I was just like really hating myself at this point. Like, yo, like, how did I end up taking this junk? I should have known better. Of course, it didn't help that Deontay kept being like, I told you. And I'm not staying over there with you because they be doing all types of crazy stuff. And I'm like, I know, that's why you should stay with me. Like, why would I want to be over here by myself? And then homie did some crazy ass shit, which is what actually made Deontay decide, you know what, I'm coming over there. So he started, like, I told you how the landlord would just like show up unannounced all the time. But then this one time, like I said, the roommate was always trying to like figure stuff out. So he figured it out, I guess, by like eavesdropping on my conversations or something. He realized that Deontay wasn't coming around for a couple of days or whatever. And then, like, I guess he could hear on conversations that he was out of town. So I just felt like it was so weird how, like, as soon as I said something, like, the landlord would pop up. So that's when I started realizing, wait, like this roommate is just acting like he doesn't like the landlord, but low-key, they're like working together. It's a bit of a stretch, but I feel like that's what happened, because that's just how the dynamic was going. It was just like something would happen in the house, and then the landlord would just know. Like, right away, you know, like, he'd be texting me, be like, so I heard that your man was just at the house, or, you know, like, weird little stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, so. And then he started like trying to trip out, and like was like saying like, oh, the rent that I paid was just for me, so he don't want nobody else there. And I'm like, you said what now? Okay, I'm not understanding that, because for one, this place is a dump, and the amount of money I'm paying is more than even what I should be paying. So who are you exactly to be making demands? And you feel like, what, because I'm a female, I'm just gonna be like, oh, okay. No, I pay rent here, I'm allowed visitors, and you can't tell me who can or cannot be here. If you look in these closets, these are my clothes. He does not live here, but he is allowed to visit, and he's allowed to spend the night. You're not my daddy. Like, you can't tell me that I can't have a visitor. Like, that shit really was blowing my mind. So I was like, no, that's not gonna work. So then we ended up starting like clashing like crazy, because he was getting tight, like you know, like a jealous boyfriend. He was getting mad every time he heard that Deontay came over and spent the night, which I was like, how is he hearing these things though if he don't live there? Because of the roommate. So Deontay really started realizing that, and then he really stopped messing with the roommate. I'm like, thank you, I've been telling you that something is wrong with this dude. But anyways, so ended up like you know, like trying to like be careful and whatever. But the situation just started getting like really, really, really weird, because Deontay would be there like most of the times, and then we wouldn't see or hear nothing from the landlord. And then as soon as he leave, like the landlord's like blowing up my phone, texting me a bunch of times, like calling me like wild hours, asking me if I'm home, like this weird stuff, yo. And I was just like, yo, like this dude is giving me a migraine, like a real migraine. And it was just such a problem too, because I had paid him so much money. I didn't even want to move out. And I didn't have the money to move out, and I didn't want to move out, because I was just like, yo, like, I feel like my money was going to go down the drain. Because I know he's so unprofessional. I know for a fact there's no way he was going to give me any of my money back, even if I was only like staying there for a few weeks. And because all of this was happening within like 2 weeks of me staying there, y'all. Like, I wasn't even there for no period of time. Like, this was just like all in the first 2 weeks. And I'm just like, you know, like shaking my head, just like, yo, like, why, girl? Like, why? Like, why? I felt like everything was going wrong. And I was dealing with some legal stuff as well. So that was taking a lot of my money. And I was just like, yo, I cannot afford for this shit right now. The last thing I need is to be unstable again and be having to try to figure out where to go again. Like, it's draining. And so the landlord was just like, you know, like just progressively just getting worse and worse and worse, invasive, trying to come at me and stuff. And then this is what he did that was like the icing on the cake. So Deontay left one weekend again. And the landlord, like, I was on the phone with Deontay, and the landlord, like, kept calling me. And I'm talking about, like, 2 o'clock in the morning. But he kept calling me, and I was like, yo, like, why is this dude calling me? So Deontay was like, who? I was like, yo, the landlord. And he's FaceTiming me. Like, that's weird. Like, we're not cool like that. Why are you FaceTiming me? That's so unprofessional at 2 o'clock in the morning. So Deontay was like, pick up and see what he wants. So I picked up the phone, and he's like looking in the background and stuff. Like, you can tell he's trying to look to see if I'm alone or whatever. And he was like, yo, are you home? So I'm like, no. And he was like, oh, I just wanted to call and let you know. Like, this was the weekend after the cops had come looking for the roommate, and roommate kind of like split, trying to, I guess, stay low. So he was calling me trying to like spill tea, pretty much, like old tea that I already knew. So he was like calling me, trying to gossip and shit. And I was like, you call me at 2 o'clock in the morning, FaceTiming me at that to talk about somebody you supposedly rent to as well. No thanks, boo, I'm good. So I was like, yeah, I'm at work. Like, I can't be on the phone. And I like hung up. And I told Deontay, and he was like, yo, that's weird as hell. So why about like 30 minutes later, I'm on the phone with Deontay. And I hear like keys turning in the door, and I hear the door open up. So I was like, not paying any attention. I'm like, yo, maybe the roommate dude like decided to pull up to get his stuff. So all of a sudden I hear like the landlord's mouth, and I'm like, what is he doing here? Like, that's crazy. He just called me, and I told him I wasn't home. Like, why is he here? So he just like busted my room door open and walked in. And like, I could tell by the way how he did it, like he really did think I wasn't home. So I don't know if he was trying to like dig through my stuff like while I was gone, and like see if I had any money laying around or anything. But like, he just came in, and then once he saw that I was there, he tried to, you know, make conversation. And he's just like, it was so awkward, because I'm like laying there like in just a shirt, and he's like just standing there in the doorway, like just talking to me. And I'm like not even responding. Like, you can see on my face that I'm shook. Like, I'm like, and he's just standing there like talking to himself. And then he eventually walks out, and I was just like, Deontay was on the phone being quiet, and then he was like, yo, like, did he just come into your room? I'm like, yes, he did. So that was it. Deontay was like, yeah, I'm coming home tomorrow, and I'm staying over there. So that's what happened. And then from there, all hell broke loose. Because this dude tried to tell us that Deontay couldn't stay there. And if I wanted him to stay there, I'd have to pay like $600 more. I'm like, Say what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would I do that? Why would I do that when you have not done anything that you said you would do? You've been nothing but unprofessional, and you're overcharging me. If anything, the money I paid is good for the both of us. So, yeah, Deontay was there, and I was like, yeah, and he wouldn't be here if I felt safe. You didn't make this place safe. You're making me very uncomfortable, and I don't have a lock on my door. So, yeah, he's staying with me. So that started a big ass problem, because one night me and Deontay was there, and once again, I'm guessing like the roommate texted him. No, the roommate wasn't there. I'm lying. So yeah, so one night I was there, and once again he tried calling me, and like he was asking me like if I was home. So I was like, yes. And then this was like, once again, like 2 o'clock in the morning, and he was like, are you home? And I said, yes. And he was like, okay, I'm about to pull up. So I was like, why? He said, oh, I just gotta come grab some stuff out of like homie's room. So I was like, nah, like I'm not really comfortable with that. You know, at the time I didn't even mention that Deontay was there or anything. So he really thought it was just me by myself. And I'm like, you know, telling him as a female tenant that paid him money at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm not comfortable with you just coming in. So, no. Can you come tomorrow? Yo, homie got mad. He was like, what you mean? Like, that's my crib. That's my crib. You can't tell me I can't come in. Blah, 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 blah. So that's when I had to start getting mad, too. I'm like, boo, yes, I can. I pay rent here. You don't live here. This is not your crib no more. You rented it out. Like, your name ain't even on the lease. Like, this is your mom's space. Like, are you serious? You clearly don't know the law, boo, and you need to educate yourself. Yeah, so I was like, you need to educate yourself before you, like, get yourself in trouble. So he was, like, on that ignorant shit. He was like, what? Are you threatening me? Blah, 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 blah. So he stormed over there, of course, like I expected. And he was at the door, like, banging on the door. And I was like, yo, what is wrong with this guy? Like, he's possessed, like, dead ass. And he was there, and I was like, yo, like, why is he here? And I was like, I'm not getting up to lock the door, to open the door. And I had got up before that. Once he called and was, like, cussing on the phone or whatever, I got up and, like, latched the door, you know, that, like, little iron thing that you put over the door. I did that because it's like, I just had this feeling, like, I knew once I told him he couldn't come, he was going to come anyways. So I latched the door, and he was at the door, like, banging on the door. And then I could tell that he opened the door up with his key. And then he realized, yo, like, that I latched the door. Yo, he got like Hulk Hogan, and he kicked the shit in. He kicked the door in, y'all. So he kicked the door in, and I, like, me and Deontay are both looking at each other like, what? Like, this is so ghetto. So he storms into my room, busts the door open, like, you know, like this is his shit. And he's just like, he storms in. And then he realized that Deontay's there. So, like, it's like he's just, like, extra tight now. And he goes, yo, what I tell you about having this dude over here? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, he's like, yo, you gotta go. And Deontay's, like, about to put on his shoes. I'm like, no, he ain't going nowhere. And I told Deontay, I said, sit down. And, yo, it was so crazy because Deontay was just standing there like, yo, I'm not trying to, like, create no problems. I'm like, well, it's going to have to be problems because guess what? Like, I'm putting my foot down today. This dude is not about to bully me because I'm a girl. For one, you just kicked my door in and then you're going to tell me he needs to leave. That's the definition of unsafe. Like, no, I'm not. He's not leaving. So I was like, he's staying. And he starts getting all tight and he's like taking his shirt off on some, like, you know, like he's about to fight or something. He's like, yo, I'm tired of talking, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, I'm tired of talking too. And you're not listening. You're unprofessional. And I'm like cussing him out. And we're both going back and forth at each other and whatever. And he's like threatening people and shit. He's like, yo, you're not from here. He's like, you're not from here. This is my hood. This is my hood. Like, you don't know when you're walking around here who's looking at you and this, that, 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 that. I'm like, well, make it happen. Make something happen there. Make something shake, tough guy, because you're not scaring me. And if you want to fight, we can fight. I'm not trying to fight, but we can fight for sure. That's facts. So it was like on that extra ass shit. And then Like, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna show you something, because you're so illiterate and you're so friggin' dumb. You're literally a dumbass who just ended up having like a spot, and you just wanted some quick money to get some drugs. So I'm gonna show you a little something about the law. So I called the cops, and he was like in the background talking about, are you stupid? This is my place. What you think they gonna do? They can't tell me nothing. I'm like, yes, they can, actually, because you are breaking the law. So I was telling him, I was like, hello, and I'm on the phone with the police, and I'm like, yeah, so my landlord, blah, 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 and I'm explaining everything. I'm like, yeah, he kicked the door in. He's been coming here nonstop since I moved in, like, uninvited, and I'm a female, and there's no lock on my door. I don't feel safe. And lady was like, okay, stay on the line. She was like, can you describe him? I'm like, yes, I can. I can describe him to a T. I describe everything down to the sock he was wearing. I was like, he got on white ankle socks, and they're like pulled up a little above his ankles. He got on some Nike slides. He got on a white beater. And like, I told her everything that he was wearing, yo. And he's just standing there looking at me like, yo, word? And I'm like, word, bitch, word. I'm not playing. And like, she was like, what is he doing now? I'm like, he's standing right here in my room, like standing right here, like staring at me, telling me how I'm not from here, how he gonna have people cut me up. And she was like this, he was standing there like dumbfounded, like he couldn't believe it. And you know, in no time the cop showed up, and he was really thinking that he was like in the right or something. And he walked out to the elevator and tried to meet the cops before they came to the apartment. He met up with the cops at the elevator, trying to put bugs in their ear and stuff first. And he was just like telling them how he, this is his place and blah, 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 the usual story. And so I went out there, met up with the cops. Deontay was like, stay. I'm like, stay, no, boo. Like, listen, I'm right. I know when I'm right, and I will not let it go when I know I'm right. So I walk out there with a little piece of paper that he signed, and I was like, yo, like, I live here, I pay rent here. And they were like, do you have a lease? And I was like, no, he wouldn't give me one, but this is what I have. And I showed them, and they were like, oh, okay, yes. So they started asking the guy, because he started like saying like he lives there too. So they were like, I was like, no, he doesn't, he lives over there. Like, this is the spot that he rented to me and another dude, and the other dude's not here. So like, he doesn't live here. And he was like, this is my mom's place, I grew up here, blah, 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 blah. And the cop was like, do you have this address on your ID? And he was like, well, no, but, you know, this is my mom's house. And the cop was like trying to explain to him, okay, well, by law, you're not allowed to be there. If you rented it to her and it's not on your address, it means you don't live there. And he's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. This is my mom's house. I grew up here, blah, 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 blah. And the cop was like, listen, do you want me to arrest you? Because technically you're trespassing. I'm like, exactly what I said. And he was like, arrest me for what? And the cops was like, I told you, you're breaking the law. I'm like, told you that too. And he was just like standing there and like just like couldn't believe it. You could tell he was tight. He felt like defeated, like he wanted to probably shoot me or something. And I was just standing there like, yep, take your ass home. And yeah, the cops was like, yeah, you're not allowed in there unless she gives you permission to be in there. So you need to ask her, and you know, she needs to give you the okay. And then he started bringing up how I have my dude there, and my dude's not on the lease and whatever. And I told the cops, I said, officer, because of this exact situation right here, he keeps showing up and I don't have a lock on my door, I don't feel safe. And the cop straight up told him, well, I mean, in that circumstance, like, he really can't, like, tell me that I can't have anybody there for my own safety. So he was, like, extra tight. Because he was like, well, I needed to get something. And the cop was, like, telling him, well, you have to. Yeah, so the cop was telling him that he had to ask me. And you could tell, like, it was, like, everything in him to be like, yo, like, is it cool if I come in and, like, come get some stuff? And I was like, yeah, you can. And the cops literally escorted him in and, like, stood there while he took up whatever he wanted. And you could tell that he really couldn't get what he wanted to come for, which was probably drugs, because the cops was just standing there. And it was just so awkward. So that's pretty much the end of the situation, because after that, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to leave because it's just not worth it. And I mean, for my own sake, like, I am kind of stubborn like that. But for Deontay, like, I really didn't want to put him in danger. Because I know if it came down to it, I'm running my mouth and all that shit. But if it popped off to a fight, I know Deontay would have been the one that ended up in the fight. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. This dude is ghetto enough to, like, stab him for no reason at all. Or he's a drug dealer. He can literally give a little junkie a sack of yay and they would do whatever he wanted. So I know the situation wasn't safe. It was unfortunate that I lost my money, but all in all, our life just wasn't worth it. And I just was like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave. And we had told it, like, his family and stuff what happened, and everybody was like, nah, you need to go. Like, you shouldn't even spend the night there. I'm like, yeah, but it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, where are we gonna go right now? So I had to hit up my friend, and I was like, yo, girl, like, this is what's going on. And she was like, girl, bring your stuff and come over here. And then Deontay had decided from then on that, you know what, like, if you really need a place to go, we can go to South Carolina. We can go stay with my sister. And then that's how I ended up going to South Carolina, because my boo-boo looked out for me. And because my landlord was batshit crazy. So that's pretty much it, y'all, for today's vlog. If you enjoyed that crazy ass story time, then give this video a thumbs up. I know this video is long, but I don't know, hopefully it was like a little bit entertaining. I don't know what I have planned for tomorrow, but we'll see you guys tomorrow. Say good night. Well, good day, because we about to just clean up. Bye.